Good afternoon, and welcome to our performative lecture today with Carmelita Tropicana, called Carmelita Tropicana Can Be a Beast. And the reference here is to an essay written by Jose Munoz, who's a dear friend and who passed away late last year. And in some ways, this is a chance to bring his spirit back into the room and to the campus where he has spoken many times. And what most people don't know is that Carmelita and her sister Ela and Jose were the founding members of the New York City Sean Noriega Cuban fan club.
It's true.
And for 22 years,
yeah,
the three of them ran this organization like a very well-oiled machine. So really glad to have Carmelita here presenting reflections on her work. I want to thank Kathleen McHugh and the Center for the Study of Women for co-sponsoring this with us, and the Vice Provost for Diversity and Faculty Development for being a major sponsor of this event today. And the person who will introduce our speaker, who is one of the few people on the campus who is that wonderful synthesis of everything we're trying to bring together through this performance, and also someone who is an associate professor in women's studies, and hence a connection with the Center for the Study of Women, and Chicano studies, and hence the connection with the Chicano Studies Research Center, and was the recipient of the first joint grant offered through the Institute of American Culture to really look at the intersections of culture in Los Angeles, and is underway with that project, which is looking at the indigenous communities in Los Angeles in a way that is looking at a very dynamic and complex way culturally. So without any further ado, I'd like to just welcome and bring up Maylee Blackman.
I feel like the nexus of all these things, and they get a lot of labor out of us. They have us in gender studies, Chicano studies, and indigenous studies. So I feel like the nexus of all this, juiciness, this thing that's supposed to happen, and with invoking Jose, I think we just need to open the portal now, and have invite our beloved Carmelita Tropicana, sometimes in some places known as Ela Troyano. She's a performance artist, a playwright, and actor. Many of you know her. She's very beloved. She, with her outrageous humor and analysis, helps us survive war, genocide, epidemics, and she's had amazing commentary, artistic and political commentary on so many of the issues that shaped our lives. She burst onto the scene in the 1980s downtown performing arts scene in New York with her alter ego, her Spitfire Carmelita Tropicana, who will be with us today, and her counterpart, their irresistible archetypal Latin macho, Pinalito Benca, and followed by performances as Hernando Cortez's horse, and La Cucaracha Martina from her early childhood fairy tales in Cuba. Carmelita's work in humor and fantasy have become subversive tools to rewrite history and help us survive these crazy times we've lived through together, many decades. She has a book, I, Carmelita Tropicana, which is a beautiful manifesto to Latino creativity and subversive art. She has performed many places in the world internationally and subterraneanly, and in many levels of reality too, just not in this one level. So important venues like the Institute for Contemporary Art in London. She's performed in Berlin, in Barcelona, in New York, of course, and even in LA. That happens, that people come out here sometimes. So we're really blessed to have her on the West Coast. It's an unusual appearance. She doesn't always come out to see us very often. Her work has received numerous support and funding from the ITS, the Independent Television Service, the Jerome Foundation, the Rockefeller Fund, She's also received numerous awards. The prestigious Anonymous was a woman, right? We know that. Anonymous was a woman. And the fellowship from the New York Foundation for the Arts, as well as the OBE for sustained excellence in performance. So I'd like you to help me welcome and open our portal. I think we're going to have some kind of seance. Lovely, amazing time with Carmelita Tropicana.
I feel very open, portaling. Ay, well, ay Dios mío. Okay. Welcome, bienvenidos, bienvenue, willkommen, okay? I'm speaking all these languages because I want to thank very much Chon Noriega, and you know, who I met in 1994, thanks to Jose Munoz, who was doing a conference, and since then we have been like two peas in a pod, and we have joined together because of our love. We love the tongue, right? You know, we love the tongue, and we are good with the tongue. And because we are good with the tongue, you know, this language, you know, we have become totally connected, interconnected. Kathleen McHugh, I met afterwards at a show that we had called Chicas 2000, and that was unbelievable. She was one of the people that sat in the audience. Here we are playing clones, we are all wearing blue wigs, and she and 3 other women didn't know anything about the play, but they came in and they were wearing blue wigs. To which one of our, you know, one of the main actresses was wearing, who was a clone, says, "Those bitches, they're wearing blue wigs like us. Why did they do that?" And it was all, you know, it was all what was in the air, the blue wig. So I just really want to thank them very much for being so generous throughout the years and supporting the work. I also want to thank, I mean, this is called, as you know, Chon Noriega, you know, said, it was to Jose Munoz, and Jose Munoz was a queer theorist, and one of the great things about Jose Munoz was that he was a great connector. He was a great Latino queer theorist that connected people throughout, you know, different spheres. He also didn't have a sense that you are here, I am there, this is your age, you're a woman, you know, he was just really like, hey, let's do it, let's do whatever. So he, you know, he taught me a lot as a theorist that there was no real, sometimes there's no differentiation, or that it can, you know, things can bleed into one another. Like, you know, the theory and the academic can, you know, is really very much in touch with the practice and the art practice. So I love that. I love that idea. I'm really happy that some of you are here, because I know Dan Guerrero, I know Monica Polasio. I mean, it's really, the heavy hitters are here. People of, you know, wonderful performers. So that, without further ado, I'm gonna just read, you know, Jose Esteban Munoz, a couple of lines from the essay he wrote. And that's why my presentation is called Carmelita Tropicana Can Be a Beast. Carmelita Tropicana can be a beast. In the past, she has been a horse, a pig, and even a bear. In short, we can describe Ela Troyano's performance persona, Carmelita Tropicana, as a queer assemblage. Assemblage is not simply characters or personas. Instead, there's something else, something multiple. An assemblage consists of lines of articulation, strata, and territory, but also lines of flight and movement, of deterritorialization and destratification. These lines represent different intensity and different speeds and textures. We can think of the assemblage known, or assemblage if you're French, known as Carmelita Tropicana, as a body without organs, which is a body that is constantly dismantling the organism, signifying particles or intensities to circulate differently. This queer assemblage is always becoming. I'm glad for the last sentence. This queer assemblage is always becoming, because that's an easy one. He said to me, "Oh, I've written an essay, it's really fino, super fino." So he was really very proud of it. I started doing my work on animals, this is why this whole thing is called The Beast, in 1991, when my collaborator, Uzi Parnes, and I got together, and we wanted to create a work that, you know, that basically, what we wanted to do was get a grant that was put forth, and it was a grant, you know, that was going to be given to artists who were going to commemorate Columbus's coming to the Americas in 1992. So, here was Columbus in 1492. They wanted to do a commemoration and see how to commemorate Columbus coming to the Americas. So they put out the word out to artists, what kind of work can you create? And so we started talking, we read, journals and histories, and we read journals and histories. One of the things, we sat down and there was a passage from one of the books saying that, like when the Spanish colonials came, they were on horses and they had their armors, and when they first met the indigenous people, it was like mythological creatures, because the horses were not native to the Americas. So we were like, oh wow, mythology, the horses, and we had thought of horses as really very American, because you think of like the pop culture cowboys and Indians, and then we thought, oh, that's right, they weren't native to the Americas. So we thought, what if we create a story from the point of view of the horse about colonialization? And we called it The Conquest of Mexico as Seen Through the Eyes of Hernando Cortez's Horse. Well, this did not get us the grant because these people are fools, they're gonna make fun of it, so we didn't get the grant. But we said, wait a second, we've done all this research, what the heck, let's go forward. And we did a solo called The Conquest of Mexico, and we presented it at PS 122 as a solo. Now, years later, 1993, I was given the opportunity to go back to Cuba, and I hadn't been to Cuba since, I was a kid. So I was returning to Cuba, and I knew that if I returned to Cuba, I knew that this was, because I hadn't been since I was a kid, this is going to be so important that I was going to create work, So, I like to say that, we performance artists, we don't, when we break up with girlfriends, we don't get heartbreaks, we just get material, right? So I knew that I was going back to Cuba, and going back to Cuba was really intense. So I went back to Cuba, but my sister said, you should write in a different voice, not just Carmelita, not just Pingalito, which is a more campy style. And of course, my sister I collaborate with, and she's a dramaturg and she's a filmmaker, and she said, why don't you do something a little more that is not just Carmelita, but start juxtaposing the different voices. And I thought, oh, that's a great idea. So I juxtaposed the voices, I love the horse, so I thought maybe I should get the horse back in there. But the horse now was transplanted. The horse now was not in Mexico, the horse was in Cuba. But the same, kind of colonialization had happened in both places. So we had the horse in Cuba, we had a pig, and we had, Carmelita, and we had, the horse and Pingalito Betancourt, who is like a Cuban macho, kind of like, hey, el cubanazo, as we say in Cuba, cubanazo. So, so that happened, and without further ado, the piece was called Milk of Amnesia, Leche de Amnesia. So I'd like to do a little milk of amnesia for you. Okay, so, oh, by the way, I really must thank also very much John Noriega also, because he was my editor. As you can see, this lovely book, Carmelita Tropicana, Performing Between Cultures. So he was the editor of this book, so I thank him for that. And I love this picture, but all the gay men that saw it said, hey, they made you taller. Why'd they stretch you? Only a gay man would say that. So, hello people. Do you know me? I know you. I don't need no American Express card. I am Carmelita Tropicana, Miss Lower East Side Beauty Queen, famous nightclub entertainer, superintendent, performance artist. How you doing? I am feeling so good because ever since I was a little girl in Cuba, I asked my mommy, Mommy, when can I do show for John Noriega at UCLA and Kathleen McHugh? When? You see, I knew. And in this book that I have that, John Noriega edited, there's a play, or a solo called Milk of Amnesia, Leche de Amnesia. And, because the stories I tell are true stories, okay? I tell it like it is. But I don't know if I can tell it to you. I don't know. Of course! I'm going to tell it to you because I know you will not sleep tonight thinking, what would she gonna say? You say, in 1993, I went back to Cuba. But before I went back to Cuba, I had a terrible accident. I hurt my head when I was chocolate pudding wrestling. And I got amnesia. I couldn't remember a thing. And I thought to myself, oh my God, who am I, who am I? I was desperate. So I went to the hospital, and the doctors tried to control these attacks that I would get, where I would appropriate others' memories. And in controlling these attacks, they said, look, Carmelita, eat the food we bring you, because the French writer Proust ate just one Madeleine cookie, and all his childhood memories came rushing back. So the doctors, fed me Goya beans morning, noon, and night. All I got was gas, no flashback. Then they said, okay, drink this, because this is your favorite beverage. And they gave me a bottle, and I started to read the label. Malta Atway. Is it Hatway or is it Atway? Is the H aspirated or not aspirated? And is he the chief Indian Atway or the Native American indigenous Atway? The labels, they were confusing me. Then the doctor said, you are Cuban. And I thought to myself, oh, Cuban, that's what I have to do. Go back to the land that suckled me like a newborn babe. In the distance, I heard that song. How would you like to spend the weekend in Havana? How would you like to see the Caribbean shore? Come on and run away over Sunday, where the view and the music is tropical. You'll have a heart attack your office on Monday, but you won't be the same anymore. I won't be the same anymore. That's what I gotta do. I gotta go to Cuba. So I go to Cuba. I am in Havana for 3 days, and I don't get a flashback, not even an attack. So I think to myself, okay, why don't I go to El Cementerio de Colón, Columbus's cemetery, and look for my dead relatives. Maybe they'll talk to me from the grave, who knows? So I go looking for the Tropicanas, I don't find them. And then all of a sudden, I start to feel a little headache and weak and about to faint, but I see in the distance, there's a tree with someone tied to it. And then I hear flamenco music. Ole! 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 I was born in Badajoz, España. Todo era tranquilidad, un sueño dulce. The sky clear, not a cloud for miles except for the clouds of dust me and Dulcinea made as we galloped across the dry fields. The sun was strong. One day it rained, the weather turned to mud and splattered from my pasterns to our forearms. Everything was simple. When I turned 2, my master told me I'd been sold to a conquistador. A conquistador! What a strange and exciting sound. The day came when I had to leave Spain and become the stallion of a conquistador. But I was too excited that night to sleep. We horses are a bit high-strung. Stayed up with my mother, a beautiful Arabian mare counting stars. At daybreak, she gave me her bendición. Arriero, from now on, you will be counting stars in the new world. I was one of the first horses to set hoof in the new world. Oh, I couldn't believe it, that voyage from Spain to Cuba. Oh, all of us animals herded into a tiny ship. The roosters that kept climbing my back, the rats I had to stomp on. But the worst thing was the boredom. Nowhere to go, I couldn't stretch my legs, and every day fed the same thing over and over. Hay and oats, hay and oats, hay and oats. For variety, I had to eat my own dung. Started counting the days. 1, 2, 3, 4. I fell into such depression. And there was no Prozac in those days. Quiero escribir los versos más tristes esta noche. Quiero escribir los versos. Then somebody yelled, land, land! Oh, it was the island of Cuba. I couldn't believe my 340-degree peripheral vision. Everywhere I look, fruit, mamey, mango, guanabana. And the natives were so friendly. They walked around, smoking, offering us partagas, panetelas, Camel Light. No, thank you, I don't smoke. But I will have some of that yuca barbecue. Yuca barbecue was my favorite. I couldn't stand the guinea pig. I'm a vegetarian. Havana, in those days were teeming with life. Oh, especially the mosquito kind. Oh, I couldn't swipe them fast enough with my tail, which is why I hated Gonzaga, the priest, that kept plucking the hairs out of my tail to make hair shirts to give to the natives as gifts. Now, Gonzaga was not my master. It was just that I was on loan to him because of my name, Arriero. And joder, that priest was fat. It took 3 men to put him on my back. That day, we were delivering the hair shirts to the natives. That's when I saw the chief Indian Atway. We couldn't hear because there was so much commotion, but I rotated my left ear and heard a priest saying to Atway, Atway, repent and you will go to heaven, if not hell. Atway looked at the priest and said, if heaven is where the Spanish Christians go, I'll take hell. I saw the flames healing Atway, and I saw so many more dead from disease, from working in the mines. I thought of my mother's farewell words. Arriero, from now on, you will be counting stars in the new world. No, mother, not stars. Oh my God, I must have fallen into a coma. A collective unconscious memory appropriation attack. Ay, Dios mío. Well, as you can see, my memory is back. So I am all together here with the memory. Now I want to talk a little bit about the second piece, which is ¿Con qué culo se sienta la cucaracha? With what ass does a cockroach sit? And that is an expression, an African Yoruban expression that means in Cuba, don't put on airs, don't be pretentious, because, we Cubans, we know about pretentious. So when I started with what ass does a cockroach sit, it was basically because, I don't know how many of you remember in 1998, there was a Cuban boy, shipwrecked, who, was shipwrecked. The mother died crossing the ocean with a lot of people, but he was saved. And then they picked him up, and the U.S. took him to Miami. It became a great international, custody battle. So because I could not speak to my relatives in Miami, because they just really thought that the kid should stay here, even though his father was in Cuba with 3 grandparents who wanted him, we couldn't talk. Jose Munoz had the same problem with his, relatives. It was like, forget it, and the fights were so intense that I thought, well, if I can't talk about Elian, with my relatives, I'll do it in a public forum, which is theater. So then that's what I did. I started, I started it as the event was unfolding. And I thought to myself, well, what is important about like a kid who's 5 years old, who's been, shipwrecked? Well, I think that it would be a great story to tell through, a fairy tale. That's what I really, a fairy tale, I think like it sort of fits. And all, so there was a fairy tale that I knew from in Cuba about a cucarachita Martina. How many of you are familiar with Martina the cucaracha? No? Okay. Well, what kind of Latinos are you?
California.
Yeah, but Martina made it, I think, to different Caribbean places. Anyway, Martina, the only thing that I remembered about this particular fairy tale was that this cockroach was really clean. She was always cleaning, and then in the midst of cleaning with her broom, she found a nickel, and with that nickel, she bought face powder. That's all I knew. But then, when I started writing the piece, and there was a CLAGS performance that I was invited to do, then this woman, Marvet Perez, who just passed away also, who was a Smithsonian curator, sent me the book. Yeah, she died. Yeah, I know. And she sent me the book. She said, Carmelita, don't worry about it. I'm going to send you the book so you know what the story is about. So and Marvet Perez has no relation to, because the story is called Perez y Martina. And Perez is the name of the mouse, but no relation to Marvet. So the story is that the cockroach buys face powder, and all these animals think that she's gorgeous. It's a little, femi, little cucaracha that everybody loves. So all these animals come, the duck comes and she says, well, how would you speak to me? And, the duck is, of course, quack, 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 quack. She says, I know, that's gonna drive me crazy. Then the frog, boom, 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 oh no, horrible, that's horrible. And then the mouse, who is supposedly a blue-blooded Spanish mouse, comes in, and she says, well, how would you speak to me? And he goes, choo, choo, choo. I love it. So they get married, and what happens is, as all like grim fairy tales end, they get married, they're really happily, they're living very happily when Martina is making a pot of a dulce, a dessert with a little almond inside. She goes to clean, and Perez, the mouse, tries to get the almond and, falls into head first and boils himself. So you see the two little legs, a boiled mouse, and dies. So it's a sweet story. And then she's a widow that, ends up crying and singing to, her mouse all the time. So that's the story. Then I thought, okay, I'll use some of the elements. And then another, my favorite part of like creating work to me is research. Because then you don't have to write. Then you don't, you're just researching. You're just reading. You just, so TV, I watched a lot of TV for the Elian Gonzalez, and it was really important to see the news. I read Joan Didion's Miami book, which is amazing. And another thing that I did, well, Kafka Metamorphosis, of course. And I also looked at Fires in the Mirror, which was an Anna Deavere Smith play that was about an event that happened in Crown Heights in New York. There were riots. This poor little kid, Brian Cato, was killed, and he was African American. But then in retaliation, some people killed a Jewish student. So it was horrible. And what she did, Anna Deavere Smith, is she took these, interviews and pieced them together and created a piece from it, embodying, all the people from the Hasidic woman to Al Sharpton. What I do differently is that I use the bestiary, and I use fantasy and humor. So I would like to read, let me see how I'm doing on time. I'd like to read from this book called Animal Acts, Performing Species Today. And this is a book now that that's come out just this year. And I have the piece of, with what asked as a cockroach said. I also wanted to make the story a little bit bigger than just than a Cuban story, I thought, because, if the woman, if Elian's mother actually crossed the ocean, it was really important. It's an immigrant story too. It's just not a Cuban, not just specifically Cuban, although it's very Cuban, but there are other ways to engage with it for other audiences to engage. And in fact, like in part of it, like the cockroach is sitting and she's contemplating, because that's what cockroaches do, they contemplate a lot. And she translates, I don't know if you know Manu Chao's song, but Manu Chao's song is I'm a lion in the ocean, a ghost in the city, and she goes, oh my God, this is like the national anthem for cucaracha. I got no papers, I gotta run and hide, peruano clandestino, argelino clandestino, cucaracha ilegal. So, so the piece begins with Martina. A ver si me pongo cucaracha. A life of a cucaracha is tough. Quick hide, quick hide. That should be my name, not Martina. That's what they should put in my tombstone. Here lies, quick hide. Everyone thinks roaches are dirty. But what do they expect when we gotta hide all the time inside a greasy stove, under a dresser, with a dust bunny the size of a bullfrog, and only if you're very lucky behind the can of Planters peanut that's been open and you can lick the salt. We suffer so much anxiety. You gotta have eyes in the back of your head because you never know where the danger's coming from. But I shouldn't complain. This is a good family situation for me. The old man is 80 years old and slow as molasses. And Catalina, my best friend, she's a very generous parrot. But bossy, oh my God, I gotta do all her legs because I got 6 legs and she's got 2. And she's gotta be inside her cage. Every day at 9 a.m., I gotta go into the old man's bedroom to see if he's packing a suitcase to leave on a singing trip. And she's so scared he's gonna leave her, she don't know how to relax. she don't know how to relax. And she's so strict with me. We have to have vocabulary lessons at 12 before lunch. And then at 3, café con leche. But not just regular café con leche with a discussion. And then she gets upset with me if I say something she don't want to hear. Mira, like my grandfather used to say, al rey no se le dice lo que no quiere oír. Okay, you don't tell the king what he don't want to hear. Ding. Cucurú! 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 Cotorra! Oh, practice makes perfect. Ay, Virgen Santísima, I almost forgot the time. Where is Martina? I've never met a cucaracha more resistant. Any type of intellectual stimulation is like a punishment. How many times have I told her we must feed our brains, our souls, as well as our bodies? And to think I was once like her. Una salvaje, a wild savage. I was not born in Havana, though some call me La Señorona de La Habana Vieja. No, I was born in the jungle and taken by a man who took Cuban parrots to sell in the black market. And that's how my brother Francisco, now Harry, ended up in Chicago. And I ended up with my old man, the Grammy-winning singer of the Nueva Vista Social Club. Oh, my Grammy winner. Oh, so handsome, big bags under his eyes. Guapo, guapo. Magic fingers that can play the guitar. Oh, and massage my cranium. My old man and I, we're going to be doing a duet together of our favorite song, Cuckoo, Cuckoo. And that's why I work hard to elevate myself and learn a new vocabulary word every day. Yesterday's word was succinct. Martina should be happy. How many roaches are there that learn vocabulary and live in such splendor? A cage that's the exact replica of the Palace of Versailles. My mirrors, my Louis XIV's chair, and my divan. Most people are hungry in Cuba. I am like Marie Antoinette. I say, let them eat cake o pastelito guayaba. Martina! Martina! I assume there's nothing to report? No suitcase? No packing going on? No suitcase, no packing going on. Good. Let us begin with our vocabulary word. The word for today is petit pois. That's French for peas. Repeat after me. Petit pois. Again. Now a sentence. I love my petit pois. Is that it? My, you're in a hurry. Aren't you staying to hear Birth of the Bee, the animal internet's new reporter? Oh, you like Lumumba the lizard. Oh, he's old. What? Remember, Café con Leche is at 3. And our discussion's going to be a good one all about ahí está cucaracha. Lumumba. To think that I used to live in this apartment with the Bat Twin boys. Oh my God, those Bat Twin boys, and there was never any food. I was on a strict diet of hair. Hair is so bad for the digestion. A shadow all around me. My head. Hey kid, your finger on my antenna is killing me. What, you're a good boy and you gotta kill me because nobody likes roaches in the house? They're dirty. No. That's a lie. I'm very clean. You're a good boy, you don't lie. And you like to play with your, at your father's hotel with the tourist children that have bigger, better toys, Power Rangers and SUV, but you got a rock and a stick, and they're magic because they can fly. Oh my God, you're a smart boy. And you're gonna kill me because roaches are very dirty, they're not clean. No, kid. No, I'm very clean. As a matter of fact, I'm friends with a queen. What queen, you ask? Did you see the Queen of Spain? What's your name? Elian Gonzalez. The Queen of Spain, that's right, you saw her on TV. Yeah. Take your finger off my antenna and I'll tell you all about it. No, I won't run. Oh. Yeah, I was there dancing flamenco with a mantilla on my head. That's right, they cut 2 little holes on my mantilla so my antenna could stick out. And Elian, I was dancing flamenco because I was the best flamenco dancing cucaracha in all of Cuba. And that's how I got to be the roach in waiting to the Queen of Spain. Sit down, I'll tell you all about it. And there I was, dancing. Elian, when queens eat, what do queens usually have? A crown, yeah, but she doesn't want to wear a crown because she wants to be more democratic. No, more communist. No, look, the politics, it got me confused. Look, queens have banquets, okay? Tremendo banquetazo. The problem is that the banquet is in a restaurant, and there's nothing that restaurant owners hate more than us roaches. But mira, mucho coco. I jumped on the back of the queen's dress and looked down at her dress because it was so beautiful. I had to read the label. Carolina Herrera. Oh my God. And when I look up, I see the restaurant owner staring at me with such hate. But I stare right back. He can't do a thing. He whacks me, he whacks the queen. I went down the stairs holding on to the back of the queen's dress and doing the royal wave. Hey, Elian, you do the royal wave. That's right. And that's how I made the headlines in the internet, the animal internet, the AI. La Cucarachita Martina dines with a queen of Spain. What, you want to kiss me so I turn into a princess? I know. No. That only happens in fairy tales. If you kiss me, I'll be a roach, but a roach in waiting to the queen of Spain. What'd you say? The twins. Quick hide. Yeah. Okay. Don't worry about it. Thank you, Elian. Look, he's waving at me. Okay, do I have a little bit more time when the cucaracha meets, Okay, so what happened is that, I have a fight with, Catalina, and then what happens is that I get inducted by Cassandra, a transgender cat, into the AI, the animal internet in Miami, and I am told that I have to go to interview Elian on a one-on-one. Hello. This is Martina reporting for the AI. I'm going into Elian's bedroom. Oh my God, he's crying. Elian, look here. It's me, La Cucarachita Martina. Remember me? I waved to you and you learn how to wave like the queen? Yeah, why are you crying? ¿Qué te pasa, niño? I don't want to go to Cuba on a tube, please. Don't send me to Cuba on a tube. I promise to be a capitalist communist. No tube, please, no tube. Elian, come down. I'm going to tell you something. You're not going to go to Cuba on a life preserver tube. No, you're going to fly. You're going to go by plane. Really? Fly? You are a smart cucaracha. You know what? I told my pretty cousin Marislesis about you, how you dance flamenco with a mantilla on your head, with 2 little holes so your antenna could stick out, but she don't believe me. But I know you're real, like my dolphin friends, Dolores and Dominique. They can echolocate. You know what? My cousin Marislesis, she teach me to talk on TV. She tell me to say, no, papi, no. I don't want to go to Cuba, no. And I go on the radio and say, tomorrow I get my citizenship. I got Nintendo and I go watch TV all day. I'm here on TV. Hey, Cucarachita, do you want me to show you how I draw? This is Cuba, really big. And then this little one is the United States of Miami. In Cuba, we sit in chairs in school. Here you can lie on the floor, but I don't like to because I get my FUBU jeans messed up. I don't like to get messed up. I never go outside without my hair gel. You gotta have good image. If you're a balsero boy like me, it's important for a balsero raft boy to have good hair. I'm the gangster of love. Jennifer, Shaquana, and Desiree, they all want to be my girlfriends, but I like girls with big breasts. Like Marislesis, he's fine. My papi, he's gonna come and marry Marislesis so I can sleep in the bed with her. I like that. Sometimes I pretend I'm sleepy so I can put my hair on her pillow breast. My papi says that I'm on vacation. My Uncle Lazaro got upset with me because he said, Elian, show the people outside what I teach you. And I do this. And I'm supposed to do this. I get confused. This is what the bad twin boys in Cuba teach me. And my uncle says that if I don't behave, the people with the cameras are not going to like me. But my grandmothers, mis abuelitas, they like me. That's why they come to be on vacation with me. Yeah. And then my abuelitas, they say, Eliancito, how big you grow. Show it to me. No, abuelita, no. Only hillbilly kicks do that. You could get arrested for child abuse and I could sue you because I got 7 lawyers. No. I'm kidding, abuelita, besito. But if you get arrested, it's okay because I got my uncles, they got DWI, and I got 2 cousins with the felonies. I'm sad, Cucarachita, because my dog got taken away because he made boob doo-doo on a letter to La Bruja who shake all the time. You know,
Janet Reno, the witch that shakes. She wants to send me to Cuba in a tube, but I don't have to go back to Cuba. I can go by plane. And my mommy, she's in the sky, in el cielo. She got that disease where you forget, so she got lost. First, she had to go down, 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 down into the ocean so she could jump up high into the sky. So I'm gonna pick her up on a plane. Cucarachita, I think I hear a plane outside. I'm gonna go outside and yell, hey plane, take me back to Cuba with my papi, Juan Miguel Gonzalez. Yeah, that's not a plane. That's a helicopter, kid. Yeah, this is, oh my God, it's a SWAT team coming in, Elian, don't be scared, I'm jumping into your sneaker. Hold on, Elian, because we're going back to Cuba.
Thank you. And now quickly, I want to talk about the last one that we did as I had said before, should I keep going or stop? No? It's 12:44. Yes?
Keep going. Yeah.
Okay. Well, who's gonna say, no, not really? Who would have that nerve? Okay, so I'll try to be quick about it. This show was done at El Museo del Barrio. It was one of the most ambitious projects that my sister Ela Troyano, the one that I've collaborated on many occasions with, and I did together. And Plastica was very much about the survival of the artist, survival of the species, and in it was like a sci-fi. And I'll set it up, in terms of, because we're gonna see some of the, it's both, it had video, it had performance, it had a photography exhibit and an installation. And it took place all around the Museo del Barrio in New York City. And it was commissioned by Performance Space 122. And the first piece that we're gonna see is a video where a woman called Ho, played by myself, is a down-and-out artist and has a protege who she names Plastica. And Plastica becomes an art star, steals an idea, and Ho is very depressed, and so depressed that she tries to reinvent herself with Botox, and eats Mentos and Coke, and the whole combination is lethal and sends her into a coma, only to be woken up by a hybrid, a woman bear, that wakes her up, who's a scientist, and she has to deal with life as a dystopian sci-fi world in the year 3000, where our leader is now a CEO, and the CEO even controls, food production, and the only honey that's allowed to be eaten is the honey that's produced by the CEO. Bees are illegal, and the real natural honey is illegal also. You can only bought in the black market. Now, we were interested in talking about just like with what Ask the Cockroach said, there's an idea that there's the immigrant class in terms of the cockroach, and the cockroach is a really a very rich element in terms of many ways of dealing with. I think humor that is racist is something that people have used a lot, and what I'm doing is trying to reappropriate that and use it in a very different way. Now, in here, we were interested in bears that are becoming extinct, bees, the colony collapse, and also in plastics. Plastics, just like the cockroach, plastics was a rich word that, you could have, plastic in terms of money, credit card, and you could also have plastics in terms of all the garbage. I don't know how many of you know, but there are these huge islands as big as Texas, created in the Pacific just of plastic garbage. And so it was kind of like, wow. Plastic also means, in Spanish, in Cuba, in Latin America actually, there's a song called Chicos Plásticos, or Chicas Plásticas, meaning, when you're plastic, you're not real. You don't have substance. You're just interested in your image, the outer, instead of like the thing, substance. So so without further ado, I think I just want to show clips, and I will tell you when to stop. I think it's 10 minutes. So roll them. Should we turn the lights off? Great.
Thank you, everyone. It is amazing to have gotten this commission from Mona. For my new show, Contaminazione.
Let me tell you about my idea. It's a show called Infection. The image is so important. People have cell phones with cameras on them, and they take pictures. And pictures are primary because they're visual. Revolutions are fought on cameras. Yes, the cameras are weapons.
It's brilliant. I can sell that. I want to thank everybody for the good vibes, but most especially my muse and my inspiration, Ho.
Bitch!
So, bachi bachi to you, Ho. Commission from Mona. I want to thank Ho. Bachi bachi to you. My muse and my inspiration. Ho. Ho. My muse.
You left me with a little honey on my lips, and I hope I have left you with honey on my on your lips. But I really, I do, in a way, I think that Jose accomplished a lot, but he did leave me always wanting more. He left me with honey on my, I miss him a great deal, and I hope you get to do some of, the readings of his work, because it's really quite stunning. Thank you very much. Just, quickly.
We have a lovely reception on the patio, but before we do that, we wanted to open it up and see if you had any questions or comments for Carmelita.
Yes.
First of all, thank you for being here.
Thank you for being here.
It's amazing to see you. How was this received? How was this
Which
received?
one?
Plastica?
Was Plastica?
Yes, yes.
The people really liked it. They were a little it's a really large work, but for the most part, people really were impressed by it because it was all over the museum. It's more arty. It's less less of what I've done in the past in a certain way, but not really, because Ho was very Latina in some ways, but it's not, we like to do things sometimes that is a little bit further, like do different things. Right. I've done Carmelita, that, I've done the, like animals and stuff like that, and I thought that this, to me and my sister, we were really interested in trying, in the sci-fi genre, but yes, also in the trying to figure out about, climate, how climate change is going to affect it, because that's Latino, that's American, it's global. Yes. So we try to incorporate that, and even, you know, the Ursa that you saw here, you know, I would have to do a little bit more of it and show more, but she, you know, in a way she had few rights. As a woman bear, she had few rights. So she could be like the immigrant, like the new class of immigrant in the future. So we like to play with different things. It's almost like it's still about identity. It's still about,
Right.
but it's in a different way. And you know what made me very happy? That the kids liked it. If kids, I mean it in the most respectful way. You know, a certain age, because I know that sometimes I'll get certain, and some people really like, wow, this is weird. Some people went like, this is really weird. So we had that, you know, we had a different, you know, perception of the piece. So.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Other ideas or comments?
Speaking of weird,
Yes.
the transition towards the reception, could you just describe a little bit what the audience would encounter after the show and they walked out into the
Oh, yes,
reception
yes.
area?
Yes, this is like one of the things that we did. We wanted to, you know, set up the, you know, it was kind of like an event, but it was, you know, a performance with video. And then the last, you know, the last scene of the play is, because a lot of the work had to do also with the commercialization of art and the survival of the artist. So the audience was there was that playing, and then they got to go out, you know, into the lobby, guided by Plastica, who is now in person welcoming the people. They said, oh, come on, I have to show you my new work. You know, there's a new work that I've done, and that little known, you know, sculptor named Ho, you know, was my muse. So they go out, and in, you know, the lobby, there's like a recreation of Damien Hirst. You know, I don't know if you know the shark of Damien Hirst. It's this huge, it's one of the most expensive, you know, sculptures, you know, that's ever been sold, millions of dollars. And it really basically is a huge tank with a shark, you know. And so it's me in a huge tank, you know, as a shark. So that's what they see. They come out and they're seeing, you know, the artist, you know, as like a Damien Hirst sort of recreation of that. So it's appropriating. Is it homage? Is it stealing? So.
Wow, that's great.